What does it mean to be human in the first place? And what is the so-called dignity of man or dignity of human beings, which was so important to Renaissance thinkers? For Renaissance thinkers, the answer to these questions often came from ancient philosophers or from Christianity. But some of the most striking ideas came from the Hermetic writings, translated into Latin by Marsilio Ficino, 1433 to 1499. These writings offered Ficino a new vision of human nature. While earlier thinkers, like Aristotle, defined human beings as being rational, a rational animal, the Hermetic writings stressed the divine nature of human beings. One writing emphasized human nature as the bond between spirit and matter, and it highlighted the human inclination to love and care for the things of the earth. The Hermetic writings are mystical and philosophical texts that originated in Egypt, shaped by both Greek philosophy and native Egyptian thought. They were presented as revealed knowledge from an ancient Egyptian sage known as thrice great Hermes, or Hermes Trismegistus. Marsilio Ficino's Latin translation made these works influential during the latter part of the Renaissance. This image of Hermes Trismegistus appears in the marble pavement of the Cathedral of Siena, Italy. The Hermetic writings emphasize the importance of rationality, like Greek philosophers, but they see rationality as something deeper, even mystical. They offer a profoundly spiritual vision of human nature, distinct from Christianity. In the Asclepius, a Hermetic dialogue known in the Renaissance, we are told many remarkable things about human beings. First, human beings are a great miracle, a being to be adorned and honored. This line appears at the very beginning of Pico della Mirandola's Oration on the Dignity of Man, and was also often quoted by Ficino. Next, human beings are divine, like God and the cosmos. Human beings have a dual nature. They are both spiritual and material, serving as the bond that links the two realms. Human beings contemplate heaven and the order of nature, while also taking care of the things of the earth. This is somewhat different from the book of Genesis, where human beings are stewards, which essentially means property managers. In the Hermetic writings, love is essential. Human beings are loved by higher cosmic powers, and they in turn love and care for the things of the earth. Again, this emphasis on love is not found in Genesis. And finally, although limited physically by their bodies, human beings have minds that are limitless, capable of understanding the cosmos and all of creation. In other words, some part of the human mind is infinite. Needless to say, this is a profoundly optimistic view of human dignity, and it had a deep influence on Renaissance thought. Ficino translated the Hermetic writings in 1463, and they deeply shaped his thinking, which blended three main traditions: Christianity, Neoplatonism, and Hermetic philosophy. The Hermetic writings were so important to Ficino that he sometimes copied entire passages into his own writings by closely paraphrasing them. Following the Asclepius, Ficino repeatedly describes the human soul as the bond of the world, tying all things together. He also makes love a universal force that unites and animates the cosmic hierarchy. As we look upward to the divine, we simultaneously love that which is below. This image comes straight from the Asclepius and its portrait of the ideal human. Quote, "He raises his sight to heaven while he takes care of the earth. Thus he is in the fortunate middle position. He loves the things that are below him and is beloved by the things above." Unquote. Further, in the Asclepius, humans are bound in a knot of love to all other creatures. In this Hermetic vision, human beings are meant to love and care for the earth, an emotional bond that's largely missing from the Judeo-Christian tradition. In the Hebrew Bible, human beings are depicted as stewards of creation. The Hebrew word translated as steward means administrator, and in Greek it becomes household manager. These are managerial roles. Human beings are not asked to love nature, only to care for it on God's behalf. By contrast, the Hermetic texts describe a much more organic connection between the divine and the human. The Asclepius sacralizes the human middle position, loving what is below, contemplating what is above, and being bound in a knot of love to the whole. This vision also spells out a Renaissance ethos. Inspired by love, humans are moved by their very nature to adorn and beautify the world. And this love easily sparks the creative process. The Hermetic idea of a human-centered cosmos also aligns with the ideas of Renaissance humanism, which emphasize self-understanding, human potential, and the development of our human powers. And that's why it's called humanism. It was a movement centered on human development. This Hermetic call to love the world pairs beautifully with another ancient idea, one from Aristotle, that art completes nature. In other words, art or techne completes what nature starts, but does not finish on its own. This ancient theme, the relationship between art and nature, took on new significance during the Renaissance. When we combine these two ideas, love and care for the world, with art completing nature, we arrive at a defining Renaissance insight. Moved by love and inspiration, human beings can create a more beautiful world. We see this spirit clearly in Renaissance painting, architecture, and garden design. In formal garden design, art and nature are intimately joined. And in her book, The Italian Renaissance Garden, Claudio Lazzaro explores this interplay between art and nature. She writes, quote, "Nature was conceived as ordered, a reflection of cosmic order, and in imitation of nature, art must imitate not only nature's outward appearance, but also its underlying order." Unquote. This intersection of art and nature also appears in the work of Giannozzo Manetti, another Renaissance humanist who read the Asclepius. Manetti argued that while God created the world beautifully, human beings have the power to make it even more beautiful. Returning to the garden theme, Lazaro writes that in recreating nature, the garden also revealed the laws of nature behind its material appearance, and thus reflected the belief in the correspondence between things visible and invisible, which was central to Renaissance thought. The divine harmony of the universe was echoed in the harmony created through human art, in buildings, pictures, households, governments, and gardens. She continues, in the arts, this relation between microcosm and macrocosm was expressed through mathematical perspective, proportional relationship of parts, symmetry, and geometric forms. The order in the garden, achieved through similar means, likewise reflects and reproduces a cosmic order. The first formal Renaissance garden, attached to a villa, was built by the Medici family in Fiesole, overlooking Florence in the mid-1400s. With a sweeping view of the city below, the upper garden was laid out geometrically to mirror the proportions and dimensions of the villa itself. This was not a working garden for food production. Rather, it was designed to inspire contemplation, a conscious effort to recreate a garden of philosophical reflection inspired by ancient Roman examples. It soon became a meeting place for Renaissance thinkers, including Lorenzo de' Medici, Ficino, and Pico della Mirandola. The Renaissance scholar Ross King describes the villa as the result of a desire to create, quote, an enclave of beauty and order through the harmonious interplay of plants and flowers with geometry and architecture, unquote. In the end, he notes, it became a kind of 15th century Florentine equivalent of Plato's Academy or Aristotle's Lyceum, a place where the carefully crafted beauty of nature could elevate both the mind and the spirit. It's fitting that Marsilio Ficino, who believed beauty could elevate the soul and that we should love and care for the earth, spent time here with friends in a setting consecrated to beauty. Here, the life of the mind and the beauty of nature came together. Here, both human nature and the beauty of nature were cultivated. I've now been fortunate to visit this special place several times, and when I first saw it while planning the first Renaissance program in Florence, I thought, we really should do something here. It would be unforgettable, I thought, to bring people there to walk in the footsteps of Ficino and Pico, to see the same views, to experience the same harmony and beauty born of nature and art together. Over a year later, during our first 5-day course, the Renaissance program in Florence became a reality, and to conclude the event, we visited Villa Medici. We explored its interior, normally closed to the public. We took in the view and walked in the footsteps of Ficino, Pico, and the Renaissance humanists. A new Renaissance program is scheduled for the final week of March 2026, and we'll be returning to this remarkable villa and Renaissance gathering place. If you'd like to walk in Ficino's footsteps too and experience this unforgettable setting, you're warmly invited to join us. You can find full details on our website. Marsilio Ficino's recovery of the Hermetic tradition of love intersects with a broader Renaissance ethos that human care and creativity can transform the world. In many ways, the great achievements of the Renaissance resonate with this vision. In the Platonic and Hermetic traditions, human beings are indeed rational creatures, and our rationality is a gift that should be cultivated. But we are far more than that. We also possess deeper forms of knowing, including the kind of understanding that comes through love. As Dante noted, love awakens the soul to act. Love of beauty can elevate the soul, but it can also move us to care for the world, to heal it, and even to transform it. As Ficino wrote, "There is nothing to be found in this whole living world so deformed that soul does not attend it, that a gift of soul is not in it." Even what appears damaged or misshapen is worthy of care and enlivened by the presence of soul. One takeaway from the Renaissance mindset is that we can often create admirable things with reason alone. But to create what is truly great, lasting, meaningful, and deep, something more is required, a spark of love or devotion. We can certainly see this love reflected in the extraordinary care behind the greatest works of Renaissance art. For Ficino, as illustrated in Botticelli's Primavera, the lush garden of the world is animated by love, which flows through it. Read as a Neoplatonic allegory, the Primavera tells a story. The soul enters the world in a naive state, is transformed through the power of love, and after this transformation, it is led to contemplate divine beauty and the source of creation. For Ficino, love plays a central philosophical role because love, like reason, is also a way of knowing. Influenced by both the Hermetic writings and Neoplatonism, Ficino taught that love is the bond of the universe. Likewise, he believed that love is another name for humanity itself. For the more we love others, the more fully we express our human nature. In Latin, humanitas implies not just civility or learning, but also a love for all that is human. To truly know and to be deeply human is to love, and to let that love shape the world.